So I've been getting a lot of requests from a lot of different people about how to set up a square dead zone on your controller without using like third-party software or anything that adds an extra input lag. So I thought I'd do a quick video on how I do that. I must say it's not perfect. It's not going to be completely square, but what it is going to do is it's going to give you sort of a feeling like square dead zone where you can reach all the way into the corners, that you can then develop your own muscle memory with, even though, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not going to be a perfect square. In the corners, it might be at 45, it might be at 43, it might be at 46 degrees, etc. But it will feel like a square, and you will get a lot more into the corners of your controller. So here's Gamepad Tester. I thought I'd just show you the controller I'm using. This is a DualSense controller. It only works with DualShock 4 and DualShock 5 or DualSense controllers. So at the moment, I have an average error of roughly 7%. This is not using any fancy potentiometers or anything. This is just what comes from the factory. It's slightly better on my right stick because I play Rocket League, and Rocket League is predominantly a left stick movement game. So basically, a little while back, maybe last year, this guy came out with this tool that writes directly to the firmware of the controller. And what it's supposed to be used for is for calibrating the circularity of the controller so that it better fits this circle. But what I have found is that you can also use it to set a square dead zone if you use a very, very specific calibration method. So what this is, I've made it a lot bigger so you guys can read it. The website for this will be in the description. There's a web version of this. It's the DualShock Calibration GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface. And basically all you have to do to permanently set a square dead zone, and you can reverse this, I promise, is you just click connect. It'll come up with wants to connect to an HID device. You just click your controller here. I've only got one connected, and then you click connect. And so I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. So now you're met with all of these options. And as you can see, it's reading my stick input. Now, you have to do a very specific set of inputs to set square dead zone on your controller. I'm gonna do this temporarily just to show you, so I can reset it back so you can set it however you want, but you can make it permanent by clicking this button. You just click Calibrate Stick Range Temporary. And now watch what I do with my sticks very carefully. Basically, all you want to do is not go the full circle around your controller like you would normally for this. You want to just briefly touch the absolute corners in all four directions and then click done. So that's one. I'm going to try to get my aim to be good here. I might have to do it a few times. And then for the other one, I'm going to just do a circle to show. Right. And then you click done. And now it'll say range calibration completed. And as you can see, it's not perfect. I hit like this angle at one point, but it reaches a lot further into the corners. I'm hitting the exact 45s here. And this is on the controller itself. This is not anything at all. I'm not using DS4 Windows, I'm not using Steam input, I'm not using anything. This is just raw input. So you can set it square. I don't think you can do this for Xbox. So this is just a PS4, PS5 thing. And I'll just show you again in Gamepad Tester. That's pretty square. Square has an average error of like 20%. I could do this again and I'd probably get a slightly better corner here. But I am reaching all the way to the ends, hitting the entire range of the controller. I will say, one slight thing of this is that I hit the edge, like this is the max input on the right side. I have like a little extra millimeter or so before I hit the edge of the circle, so you will max out your input slightly faster, and you do have to get used to that if you plan to use this in-game. And as you can see, the right stick is still a circle. So I now have a square dead zone on my left and a circle on my right. And you can reset the controller by just clicking reset, and then it will go back to it actually connected a completely different controller, even though it's the same controller, and it's back to normal. But I'll set it permanently just so you can see. I'll just do it one more time. And when you do it permanently, it's also good to calibrate the center of the stick, which I'll show you how to do as well. So you calibrate the stick range permanent, and then you just want to hit 45, 45, 45, 45. And then I'll do the right stick as well in a square dead zone, just so you can see. You can do this for both. There we go. Click done. Okay, and now I have a square dead zone on this one and a square dead zone on this one. And now I can calibrate the stick center. This is a much more step-by-step process, but it's necessary in my opinion. You want to click right changes permanently on the controller. Click start. So you want to move both sticks to the top left corner and release them. Just do as it says. This one. Top right corner. Bottom left corner. And bottom right corner. Continue. And now it's done. And as you can see, I still have a square dead zone. And just to show you that this does in fact work, I can now disconnect the controller from this. And if I go back to Gamepad Tester, it will show here. And this will work a little bit better on newer controllers. As you can see, like the axes in the center are like slightly jittery. That's just because this controller has seen a lot of use. But if I go into, let's say I play some Rocket League. All right. Controller still works just fine. Ignore that. If I go into training, just to show you that this does work, and then I'm going to click on, I'm going to open up my backers mod and go to joystick self check and enable that. You can see that it's in the dead center, and that's straight up, straight down, left, right, left, hits all the way into the corners. And this is completely stock, like completely just, I'm not using Steam input is off, I'm not using DS4, but it's not perfect, like I said, so this is only for people who like want to really get used to this. It's way better, in my opinion, than using Steam input because you get completely like a lag-free experience, and it's just stored natively on the controller. That's it, guys. Hope you found this helpful. Share this with your friends if they also want to use Square Dead Zone. I personally don't. I actually prefer Cross, but some people have been asking me how I did this when I used to do it. So there you go. So I just thought I'd really quickly cover on how to set your controller back to factory default if you do decide to turn Square Dead Zone on. It's very simple to reverse the process. All you have to do is calibrate it normally, and I'll go through that really quickly now. You just click Calibrate Stick Range Permanent, with your controller connected and all that, of course. And then all you have to do is just go around in circles. I'm just touching the absolute edge of the controller on all sides. Like that. Until you're satisfied. You can go the other direction if you want, but once is actually usually enough. Do it at like a decently slow speed. You don't want to like rush it. And then just do it with the other one as well. I don't use the right stick as much, so I'm not going to pay as much attention to that. And then you click done. And now my center is really jittery, so I'm just going to calibrate that again. Because it's a bit jittery. Although it might just be because that stick is completely worn out. To the right. To the bottom left. And bottom right. Continue. Done. Okay. So there's still a little bit of jitter in the center, but now, as you can see, sticks are back in the center of the controller. And now you can just disconnect the controller, and I will just go back to gamepad tester. Controller's connected. And now it should just roughly be a 7-8%-ish drift. Sometimes it's good to calibrate it a few times just to get that average error down. I find doing it once or twice can help, but as you can see, it's very much back to a normal dead zone. This is how a worn-out controller should normally look. I've been using this controller for maybe 500, 600 hours at this point of gameplay. So yeah, anyway, hope that helped. Share if it helped you. Share it with people who also need to know this, want to know this. That's it.